Howdy folks, I'm Eric Ali with Eagle Claw Fish and Tackle. I'm joined with
Wandy Kirkland, Product and OEM Sales Manager.
We're super excited today to talk to you guys about a rod series that Wandy has developed that we can't wait to get in your hands. And Wandy, I'm just going to get out of your way. Talk a little bit about your baby.
Okay, well first off, there's a whole team of us here and we all had our input.
Yep.
And you know, we work together as a great team to make the products that we make for people. But let's dive into this. So this is the new Flyover series of rods. And the concept behind this, as always with Eagle Claw, it's quality, value. We want the most bang for the angler's buck, right? So what we developed was a rod that has the specifications, that has the feel, that has the weight of rods that are almost double in price of this. You know, $150 to $200 price point rod. We wanted to make a rod like that with those components that retails for $89.99, and that's what we've done here with Flyover.
It's so fantastic, and when you're talking about higher end rods, it all starts with the blank. Talk to us a little bit about the blank.
Yeah, so this blank is made of premium Japanese Toray graphite. So what we did was we took 36 ton graphite, which is, you know, higher end than what a lot of the rods in this price point are. And we blended them so that we could come up with the lightest blank with the most sensitivity and the best action possible for anglers. And you know, this rod series started with the blank, and then we added premium components like Sea Guide guides, the tangle-free Sea Guide guides, you know, reel seats that are brand name reel seats, Sea Guide SAS on the spinning. We got American Tackle, casting reel seats on the casting rods. You know, all the way down to the AA cork that mates up to those reel seats, right? So a nice fit and finish for a rod at $89.99 that you would see on custom rods, right? Soft touch reel seats, things like that. So, you know, it all started with the blank and we worked really hard on it, and then we went right into all the components.
Well, and one of the things that I love that the product team did here is you guys didn't add anything that doesn't add value to the person that's using this rod. Correct. Everything adds value. And you know, the name of the rods, let's talk a little bit about the series, Flyover. We're targeting the middle of the country. Yeah.
I mean, the Flyover was to help represent like that region of the country where we have multiple fisheries, you know, different types of people from all different backgrounds who enjoy to go out and fish, you know, because there's so many people in the country that do different types of fishing. And we felt that Flyover region, you know, from coast to coast, that Flyover region embodied what these rods are meant to be. And this is not one specific species. These rods have various techniques that cover all kinds of species.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in you know, the Midwest, they take no mess. They don't want a computer chip that tells them how many casts they made or anything like that. They want solid value that's going to perform and that they can afford. And that sums up Flyover pretty well.
Yeah, and you know, you can outfit the family too. Like, you know, you don't have to, you know, take a loan on your house to buy a series of rods, right? I mean, these are affordable rods that you could buy a set of, and the rest of your family can fish with too.
Yeah, I mean, affordable, versatile, and we have given you no mess. This is just components and a blank that's going to perform, nothing else. Let's take a deeper look at Flyover. The Finesse Jig Rod, by far my favorite rod in the lineup. Let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think this will be a lot of people's favorite rod. I mean, finesse jigging, when we first designed this, you know, we wanted it to be casting. You can throw 1/8 to 3/8 ounce jigs, and even a little bit heavier than that, but it's an all-around rod, walleye, bass, depending on your technique, you know, a lightweight ball head jig with a tip with a minnow, you know, for walleye. Or if you're a bass guy and you're like, I want to throw neds and I want to throw lightweight neds, right? This rod is great for both of those techniques, right? And then even some other techniques. And I know you've used it a lot, so you've used it for a lot of different things.
You know, light football heads, Arky style jigs. I've used it for swim baits. I even used it for chatterbaits. One of the things I really love about this rod is it's true to the Flyover line. It's got a ton of sensitivity, but for being a finesse jig, I never feel like I don't have enough pop to hammer a hook home. So it's perfect, like you said, for so many different applications. 7'1", medium, extra fast, just a fantastic, fantastic rod.
Yep.
Up next in the lineup, we've got the Spinnerbait Topwater Rod.
Yes, the Spinnerbait Topwater Rod. Now this one's great. You know, I grew up fishing a lot of topwater down south, and it's one of my favorite techniques for, you know, going after bass. But you know, this is a versatile rod too, because you can use it for spinnerbait, you can use it for topwater, but you can fish multiple species with this rod, right? It's got the backbone that you need for it, but being a moderate fast action, you're not going to like yank the bait right out of the fish's mouth like a lot of rods do, you know? It's got that little bit of give that you need for a spinnerbait topwater rod. So, you know, sensitivity's there, the feel is there, the lightweight in the hand is there. It's just a great all-around rod.
Well, and talking about multi-species, you know, one of our good friends, Monty from Nebraska, Lake McConaughey, spinnerbaits, walleye. And one of the things that you need when you're fishing a spinnerbait, you need the sensitivity to A, know if your blades are spinning, and B, to feel if it gets hung up to where you could rip it out. It's got a moderate fast action, so those treble hook baits, you know, whether it's a walking bait, a hula pop, or something like that, you're going to be able to keep fish pinned. So spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, topwater baits, just another awesome rod that I really want to stress. It has the sensitivity needed to fish confidently, knowing the bait is doing what it's supposed to do. The rod that took a little bit to get it just right, the jerkbait rod, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so this jerkbait rod, it was probably the most difficult to get right for us as a company, with so many different people having input on it. You know, the length took a bit of time to get just right. We settled on 6'9". We felt that that was like the perfect in-between length. But the biggest thing on a jerkbait rod, because of the action of where you're really whipping that bait, we had to make sure the handle length was perfect. Because if it's too long, you can't get the action right, and too short, you feel like you don't have control of the rod. So I'm not the biggest jerkbait guy. I know a lot of other guys are, and I know you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So jerkbaits in 2024, they're not what they were 10 years ago.
That's correct.
We use them all year long. Guys down south use them. In Florida last year, there was an Elite Series event, one on a jerkbait. And another thing about a jerkbait I really want to emphasize is multi-species. It's not just bass. I mean, it's every game fish species will basically hit a jerkbait, but walleye especially love them. Going back to the handle, you guys nailed it. You can work the bait effortlessly. It's not popping you in your forearm or anything like that. And it's got enough pop in the tip where you can get the action that you need to get bit. And then something that a lot of people don't talk about is the sensitivity needed with a jerkbait. There's times where you're going to get a very faint pop. And sometimes if you don't have a rod that has a sensitivity, you're not going to feel it. So when you get that little subtle hint that it's time to reel down and put the wood to them, Flyover is going to let you know. We've got the power rod in front of us. Tell us a little bit about it.
All right, so the power rod, you know, a lot of people who like to use bigger baits and really rip those baits in the water, whether it be big, heavy jigs, skirted jigs, you know, they're Texas rigging, but using heavy baits, punching, big worms, things like that. That's what this rod was developed for. You know, it's a medium heavy, extra fast action rod for all of those baits up to like an ounce, right? So big tungsten, stuff like that. This rod is perfect for that.
As a bass guy, I absolutely love this rod. Like going back to what you said, skirted jigs, football heads, Texas rigs. I actually really like it for heavier chatterbaits too. Like the big bladed chatterbait for one. It's true to the Flyover lineup. But, you know, power kind of encompasses a lot of different things that we can do that spans different species. But the sensitivity that you're given with a rod that can really cast up to an ounce is it's perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
There's not a place in the country where crankbaits don't get bit, and you need a rod to cast them. Let's talk a little bit about this Flyover.
Yeah, so this Flyover is a little bit different than the others. This is our crankbait rod. And like other crankbait rods, we decided to make this one out of S-glass, which is a premium glass, because you need a little bit more give. You need a little bit more of that vibration feel in the rod for crankbaits. And so, you know, it's a medium power, moderate action rod, perfect for anything from, you know, square bills to deep divers, you know, you name it. I love crankbait, you know, in the South, that's what we threw a lot when I was growing up. And then, you know, for even out here, you know, everything from walleye to bass, so you name it, they'll hit a mimic minnow or anything like that, right? Anything that mimics a minnow, they'll hit it, so.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, the sensitivity. When we talk about glass, there's a lot of people that default to not being able to feel. This S-glass, you feel your crankbait working. It doesn't matter what type it is. And it's one of those things, let's say that you're using a medium diving crankbait and you're ticking the tops of grass, you're gonna know the second you get hung up, you're going to be able to rip it out, and that's going to, it's going to instigate strikes, and it's true to flyover. You're going to be able to feel everything.
Everything, yeah.
Drop shot fishing, it's been big in the bass world for a long time.
Yep.
It's starting to take off in the walleye world. You need a great rod to present a drop shot. Let's talk about flyover.
Yeah, so this is the Flyover drop shot rod, 7 foot, medium light, fast action rod. It's one of my favorite rods in the series. Drop shotting is one of my favorite techniques now, and I use it for walleye too. When I went down to Lake Powell with my family, we were catching walleye on drop shot, and it's fantastic. Sensitivity is incredible. You made it with, fluorocarbon line or braid and tungsten, and man, you can feel every little bump, every little crevice and rocks, anything, you can feel it.
Yeah, and it's 7 foot, medium light, fast. There's so many different use cases for this rod, whether we're talking bass, walleye, white bass, there's so many different things. You can, a finesse swim bait, all the forward-facing sonar guys out there, if you want a jig and a minnow, there's so many different things that you could do with a 7 foot, medium light, fast. But kind of the center of that is going to be drop shot.
Drop shot, yep.
When it comes to walleye fishing, no arsenal is complete without a rod that can present blade baits, jig and wraps. We got the snap rod. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so there's a big technique among walleye anglers for snap jigging, right? And this rod initially 7 foot 1, medium, fast action, medium power. This was designed for snap jigging. But because of the versatility of this Flyover series and how sensitive these rods are, the quality of the blanks, we found that you can use it for a lot of different things, just like you said, blade baits and things like that. So a very versatile rod that started out as something just for walleye initially, that was our thought, but it's turned into walleye, bass, pike, all kinds of species. So.
Yeah, it's a great jig worm rod. It's a great Ned rig rod, actually. And then, of course, on the walleye side, you really need something that you have enough pop. Because if you don't have enough pop, you're not going to get the reaction. And when you're snap jigging, whether it's with a jig and a soft plastic, a jigging wrap, something like that, you got to have enough pop to get the reaction, right? And this rod gives you all the pop that you need with so much sensitivity. That's what provides the versatility.
Yep.
Wandy, I'm not shy about it. I love using live bait. You love using live bait. This is the Flyover live bait rod. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so we're looking for a rod that's great for doing slip bobbering. Using slip bobbers, for walleye or different fish. And a lot of guys who do fish walleye, especially with live scope, they're targeting walleye and they're using slip bobbers, right, with a minnow on the bottom of them. And so this rod was designed for live bait. It's called the live bait rod, right? Medium light, fast action rod. Great so you don't, cast that live bait right off your hook. So, and that's kind of what we designed it for.
Yeah, 7 foot 6. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the crossover with this rod because there is most definitely crossover. So many walleye live bait applications. It's not even the bass side. That's one of the things that's so cool about Flyover is 7 foot 6 is a great tube jig rod because it's medium light fast. It's also a great spy bait rod. It's a great hair jig rod. So true to Flyover, it's got the sensitivity to where the crossover applications are possible.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Wandy, finesse applications have taken off for years now, and it's not just bass, it's walleye. And it's not just smallmouth, it's also largemouth. What we have here is the 6 foot 6 finesse Flyover. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so this rod is kind of a all-around 6.5 foot finesse rod for, small jigs, small baits. You can even use this for crappie, little chenille crappie jigs or marabou crappie jigs. But then you could throw all of your lightweight stuff, Ned heads for bass. You can target a ball, you can use a ball head jig with a minnow for walleye. This thing is kind of your versatile, I can take this anywhere and I can fish for anything.
Yeah, at 6 foot 6, medium light fast, one of the things that I really love about this rod is the ability to pinpoint cast, pinpoint accuracy. You can put it exactly where you want. Talking about crappie or maybe you're targeting bass, you could skip docks with it. Okay, same baits that Wandy just mentioned, but with 6 foot 6, that length is so perfect to be super accurate for any species. Wandy, one of those presentations that always gets bit is a wacky rig or a Neko rig. You need a rod to present these baits, and you definitely need a rod with some backbone to get fish out. Let's talk about Flyover.
Yeah, so this is the Wacky Neko Rod that we developed for Flyover. 6'8", medium power, fast action. So you've got the sensitivity you need. And to be honest, I feel like sometimes wacky neko rigging is like cheating because you always get bit. It doesn't matter what species it is, you're going to get bit, right? I mean, and so when I'm having trouble with all my other techniques or I can't get on fish, I'll drop back to Wacky Neko and I'll use that technique. But like you were saying, when we were talking before off camera, that this is not only great for Wacky Neko, but there's a lot of other techniques it's good for too.
Absolutely. When it comes to the Wacky Neko rig, it's a tip up presentation, like a jig. So your tip's up. At the 6'8" length, you can use tip down presentations, and at medium fast, I'm talking jerk baits, I'm talking walk-in baits, stuff like that. And to go back real quick on the sensitivity of flyover in general, and this rod specifically, is when you pitch a wacky rig out, sinks to the bottom, a lot of folks reel up right away and that's their cast. You can work it a little bit. This rod's sensitive enough that when you lift the rod tip, you can actually feel the sides of the Senko move. And that confidence in knowing that your bait is doing the right thing it's true to flyover. It's an awesome rod, and it's super, super versatile. Wandy, one of the toughest things to find as an angler is a rod that breaks down, that doesn't break down in quality as well. Let's talk about what we have in front of us.
Yeah, so this is the latest addition to the Flyover series. We came out with 3 two-piece rods that are all-purpose rods to be used for guys who are traveling. Maybe they want to leave it in their truck, backpacking, that kind of thing. But what we did was, it's the same blank technology, same premium components, just in a 2-piece. So you get the same sensitivity, same lightweight rod that can be used all around. The 6'6" and the 7-foot are both medium light with a fast action. And then right here, we've got the 7.5-footer, which is medium power with fast action. And so very versatile, easy to pack, 2-piece type rods.
That's fantastic, and I'm just going to echo what Wandy said. It's the same blank. You're going to get the same sensitivity, same performance, but for those of you folks that prefer the convenience of a 2-piece, whether you're traveling or maybe you're fishing out of a car and you need a 2-piece, now you don't have to sacrifice quality and performance, and you can get that flyover feel, that flyover look, but in just a little bit more convenient package.
That's correct. And they retail at the same MSRP as the standard Flyover series, which is $89.99.
Fantastic. All right, guys, our goal with this buyer's guide is to give you the information needed to get the flyover that fits your fishing styles best. Another thing, Wandy, that we hope is maybe people will push outside their comfort zone and at the price point, maybe try some new stuff.
Of course. I mean, the Flyover series is such a quality value statement for Eagle Claw with a recommended MSRP of $89.99. It's really hard to go wrong with this series.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Guys, Flyover is available at fine tackle retailers all over the country. And for more information, as always, you can find it at eagleclaw.com.